All right. Well, welcome everybody to another coaching call. Really excited for this one. Really the topic for today's call, which is going to be really sweet and short, but packed with a lot of important action items to double check, is that just make sure that you're being compliant with Facebook. What we've been seeing recently, I'd say over the last 2 months, is a lot of different Facebook pages going down, even though we didn't have any issues with our ads. And what we've done is we put a list together of the most common reasons why, just to go over that together. And also, one thing that we've been seeing a lot too is a lot of phishing emails, people trying to hack your ID. And we want to go over some tips to make sure that you don't get caught up in something like this. So again, keep this sweet and short. I'm gonna try to not be as technical and just go over the highlights. But what we'll be doing is we'll be sharing these slides with you, and you'll have a ton of resources to go over if you have more time. So let's jump into the most common issues that we saw that might have caused a Facebook page to be restricted. So here's a list of those issues. First one was sometimes the owner of the page's ID wasn't confirmed, and we'll go into more detail for each of these different bullets here. But so ID not confirmed, there were some unpaid balances in their business account. Some accounts might have been missing a payment method. And in some instances too, the personal ad account was restricted. So if you're new to Facebook and you're not super familiar with all the different assets and how things work, here's a quick little hierarchy kind of showing you how Facebook's business platform works. So you first have your business account. In that account, you have different users, so the owners of the page and any other employees that might have been added to it. And the assets under each of these different business accounts will include your Facebook page, will include your ad accounts, and also billing and other financial pieces. So kind of tying back to those most common reasons, for the first bullet point here, the ID not being confirmed, this ties to the admin or the users of that business manager. For the unpaid balances, this ties to the financial assets. Whether it's unpaid balances or missing accounts, that's all financial. And also for the personal ad account being restricted, this will tie to the ad account assets. So, and if you've never built a business manager, a business account with Facebook, just know that you might already have one in place. If you ever created a Facebook page, what happened, I think it was 2 years ago, a business manager was automatically created for you. And if you want to double check that, just go to business.facebook.com. And by going there, you'll be able to know if you have an account already set up. But like I said, I've included a ton of resources and links that you'll be able to troubleshoot all these issues. And let's jump to the first one. So first things first, to make sure that you don't have any issues with validating your ID. And the reason for this is, as you probably imagine, what a lot of hackers do is they'll create fake profiles. And what Facebook has been cracking on recently are those fake accounts. So they really want to make sure that you have a real person behind each of those accounts. And sometimes they might ask to verify your ID. So first thing what you want to do is go over to this link here and just make sure that you don't see any error message. If you see this screenshot here where it says confirm your ID, you're good to go. There's no issues. Now, what I would recommend for you to do is click on get started and then click on protect your account. So by doing that, it's going to prompt you to do a couple of steps. If you haven't done them already, they're going to be super important. Maybe you've already verified your ID. If you have, you'll see this show up here. So first things first, just double check that link to make sure you don't have any issues. And if you either see this page show up or this one here, you're good to go. This was actually not that frequent in the sample size that we took a look at, but we have seen some instances where people might have created a Facebook page or Facebook personal profile for the business. So you're basically like going to facebook.com and you're logging in through a different set of credentials. And what we've seen is that has been a cause for certain pages going down. So if that is the case, you want to make sure that like every profile that you have looks real, has a real name to it, that could be verified with a piece of ID. And another thing too, just so you know, is like duplicate profiles. So let's say I had 2 different accounts with like my name in it. We haven't seen any issues with this so far, but just try to avoid them as much as possible. But in the instance that you already do have 2 different profiles or 2 different personal Facebook accounts, just make sure that it has like a real name and you could also validate the ID. So next thing here, so this ties to either whether you have like an unpaid balance in your account or that you haven't added your payment method. So by clicking this link here, it's going to bring you to this page. And then from here, you want to click on payment activity and billing section. And the first thing that you want to do is you'll see at the top right corner here, it says outstanding balance 0. You want to make sure that there is no outstanding balance. And by clicking this link, this is going to bring you to your personal ad account. So you'll see here, my name. So this is not an app. So what happened is if you created a Facebook page, what Facebook did, I think it was like 2 years ago, is they automatically created a business account for you. And they also automatically created an ad account tied to your personal profile. So this is where you want to make sure that this ad account, there's no outstanding balance. And we also recommend under payment settings here, to click here and to add a payment option or method to the account. Again, the whole goal is just to show Facebook that you're a real person. And by doing this, it's just like an extra step to be able to demonstrate that. And the next thing that I'd also recommend to do, depending on whether you've created other ad accounts in the past, is to click the little drop-down menu at the top right corner. And you see here where it says see more ad accounts, click that and go through all of the different accounts that you see in here. Make sure there's no outstanding balance and also make sure there's a payment method added to each of those accounts. So super, super important steps to follow. And also, I would even highly recommend for you to maybe like once a month, once every couple months, just to quickly do this exercise, because you never know if your Facebook profile might have been compromised or hacked into, and they try to access some of these accounts or assets. At least you'll be able to catch something quickly. We've seen some instances where people had charges from like 2020 and they were not aware of it. So highly recommended to just make this part of your review process if you are heavily involved with Facebook's business platform. So the next link that we want to go to is going to bring you to the account quality section in Facebook. So if you click this link, this is going to show you if you have any assets that have been restricted. In this example, this is like a personal account. That's for a user that has been restricted. But if your page showed up here and you saw that the account was restricted, this is where we'd have to first troubleshoot by following all the steps that we just covered. And actually I have another slide here that goes over that in more detail. So if your page is restricted, before you do submit a review, make sure that you've cleared all unpaid balances. Make sure that you've added payment methods to all of your personal and business accounts if you're using them. Make sure that you can validate your Facebook profile with a government ID. If you submit a review, they might ask you to confirm your ID. We've seen several instances where that did happen, where they wanted you to confirm your ID as we were submitting the request review. And another thing too is we've seen this happen twice, I believe, but it's always good to just go and review your personal and any other business ad accounts that you have, just to make sure there's no ads that have been rejected. So all you have to do is just click the link here, go through each ad account. Best way to check is just click I haven't built anything in this personal ad account. You can see like my name's at the top left, so that's how you'll know if it's related to your profile, or if it's a business one you created. But if you look at the right side here where it says ads, if you click here and you see that it says like restricted or rejected, what I would recommend to do is just to delete them before you submit that review. And also we recommend to hit the drop-down menu at the top left corner, click on see more ad accounts and go through all the different ad accounts that you have and make sure there are no restricted assets. And we recommend to even do that, even though, if this ad account's not related to that page or is not connected to it, it's still just best practices to do that because Facebook will be taking a look at your entire account's health, including your personal profile, including all the different assets in your business manager. And if you have any questions that do come up, just add them in the comments section, include them in the chat, and we'll get to them. So the next thing that I want to quickly go over some personal security tips. We've included a lot of tools and resources that you could use to make sure your account's secure, two-factor authentication. So we'll be quickly going over that. But the biggest thing that I wanted to cover is more specifically related to communication with Facebook over email. And over the last couple of weeks, we've been seeing a lot of different phishing emails and going out to different practices. And what we wanted to do was to provide a list of listed domains, which means that if you receive an email and it says Facebook, always go and verify whether the domain tied to that email is part of this list. So for example, you could see hello at business.facebook.com. It doesn't really matter what happens before the at symbol. Just make sure that if you do receive any type of communication from Facebook, that it's coming from one of these domains here. If the email is whitelisted, we would recommend to not click any links unless it's directing you to facebook.com or business.facebook.com. So, in the past 5 years of dealing with Facebook, never once have we had to share any type of information or personal information over email. We never had to send attachments of anything that's personal. It was all done over business.facebook.com. So just be careful. Sometimes they might find innovative ways to make you think that you're seeing this domain. Just don't click any links unless it's bringing you to Facebook's pages or domains. And here's some examples. So this is an example of a client that recently received an email from www.facebook.com/125132 @outlook.com. So if you're going through this and you kind of, you see that something's wrong with your account, you might emotions are high and you might miss not paying attention to this email. If you do get anything from Facebook, just take a second to just make sure you double check the domain and review this whitelist that we have here to make sure that there's no phishing email going out to you. So, and also they've gone really innovative too. They even have links in here that looks like it's coming from Facebook. And if you hover over this, it even looks like, they're directing you to a Facebook page. But just be super, super careful whenever you're receiving emails from domains that have Outlook, Gmail, and even in this case here, here's another example. This was post0.com. And this email here looks pretty well done, compared to one that we received here. This looks like it could be coming from Facebook. It has a logo up here, but again, you'll see that it's from a completely random email. And also they're including a link to a random domain. So never click these links. And even if you recognize that it's a fraudulent email, please don't ever click any of the links in it because you never know what can happen. So that's the biggest thing with regards to communication. And over here, this is just always double check. If you feel something's off, you feel like you're getting logged out or something's happening, that you're getting some weird emails, you can always go and double check to see if there's any unauthorized activity that's happening. So if you click this link, it's gonna bring you over here, and you can click you'll see an error message or a warning if something did happen. But I'd highly recommend for you to just go through how to keep your account secure and just make sure that everything is properly set up. So you have two-factor authentication set up. It's really, really important to have. Here's some quick tips and recommendations. Something that's super important too is never save your email or your passwords on a Google Sheet or on a document saved on your computer. You never want to have any password saved on anything that can be accessed through your computer, unless it's on some type of password platform that will keep everything secure. Good examples are LastPass, Dashlane. Those are some good password protection services or software that you could use. but just make sure to never ever save your passwords on your computer or on any type of like shared network. So those are the most important things here. Another thing too that would help is to turn on alerts, and that's part of like the securing your account process to see like if ever somebody you get like an authorized or they don't recognize somebody accessing your account from like a different browser, a different location, you're gonna get emailed about it, and it's a lot better to be proactive on this and try to fix an issue or versus jumping into your account and seeing that it's been completely compromised. So please just take those extra steps. And of course, if you have any questions about setting this up, just let us know. Next thing here, just taking a look. Again, if you feel something's off, you can quickly go and take a look and see like if there's any unusual activity. So where you were last logged in, if you don't recognize the device and the location, you need to go and just remove those users, and you'll see like a little edit button or view button that would show up here if there were multiple people that were logged into the account, and you'd be able to delete them. Yeah, so you see like it was a log out button. Also, another place to look at is if you scroll down here and you go to authorized logins and just go through the list here and just make sure that nothing sticks out and you recognize all the different attempts here and devices as well. So that covers it with regards to the login sessions. And another thing that's super important that I would highly, highly recommend to do is to set up your recovery codes. So when you're securing your account, you could also get like a list of codes that please don't save them on your computer, don't save them anywhere. I would highly recommend to write it down on a piece of paper, and what that code will allow you to do is if ever you've lost your phone and you can't push that two-factor authentication through, you would have to use these recovery codes to regain access to your account. So that's just another security measure that would highly recommend for you to have in place if you're using Facebook a lot for business purposes. And some other quick security tips, just make sure to avoid like a ton of different websites that could ask you to log in by like creating to create an account using like your Facebook profile or Google account. Would highly, highly recommend to avoid that and always just sign up using your email, and avoid any like contests or quizzes or challenges that you see. Just be careful with those showing up on your profile or on your feed. And finally, if ever you feel like your account has been hacked or compromised, go to this link over here, and that will allow you to like submit a review to Facebook, and they'll be able to investigate things further. So that pretty much covers it for the most important tips, and also what we recommend for you to troubleshoot, just to make sure you don't have to experience any issues with your Facebook page. Because again, this is something that did happen, even though we had absolutely no issues with the ads that were running. And unfortunately, there's been instances where we've seen like charges from several years ago that were still pending that did cause a bit of issues. So highly recommend for you to review this, and if possible, just to make it part of like a monthly process or quarterly process if you're using Facebook for business purposes. So that's pretty much it for me. But if you guys have any questions and you're watching this in the Facebook group or on any social media channel, just leave a comment below. And also, if you'd like to get these slides, just message us on our Facebook page, send your email, and our team will be able to get it over to you. So hopefully this was helpful, hopefully it wasn't too technical, and have a great day.